Miracles at various shrines throughout the world. It is an established fact that cures have taken place at various shrines throughout the world, such as Japan, India, Europe, and America. I have visited several of the famous shrines in Japan. At the world famous shrine called the Abutsu is a gigantic divinity of bronze where Buddha is seated with folded hands and the head is inclined in an attitude of profound contemplative ecstasy. It is 42 feet in height and is called the Great Buddha. Here I saw young and old making offerings at his feet. Money, fruit, rice, and oranges were offered. Candles were lit, incense was burned, and prayers of petition recited. The guide explained the chant of young girl as she murmured a prayer, bowed low, and placed 2 oranges as an offering. She also lit a candle. He said she had lost her voice and it was restored at the shrine. She was thanking Buddha for restoring her voice. She had the simple faith that Buddha would give her back her singing voice if she followed a certain ritual, fasted, and made certain offerings. All this helped to kindle faith and expectancy, resulting in a conditioning of her mind to the point of belief. Her subconscious mind responded to her belief. To illustrate further the power of imagination and blind belief, I will relate the case of a relative of mine who had tuberculosis. His lungs were badly diseased. His son decided to heal his father. He came home to Perth, Western Australia, where his father lived, and said to him that he had met a monk who had returned from one of the healing shrines in Europe. The monk sold him a piece of true cross. He said that he gave the monk an equivalent of $500 for it. This young man had actually picked up a splinter of wood from the sidewalk, went to the jeweler's, and had it set in a ring so that it looked real. He told his father that just by touching the ring a cross healed many. He inflamed and fired his father's imagination to the point that the old gentleman snatched the ring from him, placed it over his chest, prayed silently, and went to sleep. In the morning, he was healed. All the clinic's tests proved negative. Of course, it was not the splinter of wood from the sidewalk that healed him. It was his imagination aroused to an intense degree, plus the confident expectancy of a perfect healing. Imagination was joined to faith or subjective feeling, and the union of two brought about healing. The father never learned of the trick that he had been played upon him. If he had, he probably would have had a relapse. He remained completely cured and passed away 15 years later at the age of 89. One universal healing principle. It is well known fact that all of the various schools of healing affect cures of the most wonderful character. The most obvious conclusion which strikes your mind is that there must be some underlying principle which is common to them all, namely the subconscious mind, and the one process of healing is faith. It will now be in order to recall to your mind the once more the following fundamental truths. First, that you possess mental functions which have been distinguished by designating one the conscious mind and the other the subconscious mind. Secondly, your subconscious mind is constantly amenable to the power of suggestion. Furthermore, your subconscious mind has complete control of the functions, conditions, and sensations of your body. I venture to believe that all the readers of this book are familiar with the fact that symptoms of almost any disease can be induced in hypnotic subjects by suggestion. For example, a subject in the hypnotic state can develop a high temperature, flushed face, or chills according to the nature of the suggestion given. By experiment, you can suggest to the person that he is paralyzed and cannot walk. It will be so. By illustration, you can hold a cup of cold water under the nose of a hypnotic subject and tell him, "This is full of pepper, smell it." He will proceed to sneeze. What do you think caused him to sneeze? The water or the suggestion? If a man says he is allergic to Timothy grass, you can place a synthetic flower or an empty glass in front of his nose when he is in a hypnotic state and tell him it is Timothy grass. he will portray the usual allergic symptoms. This indicates that the cause of the disease is in the mind. The healing of the disease can also take place mentally. You realize that remarkable healings take place through osteopathy, chiropractic medicine, and naturopathy, as well as through all the various religious bodies throughout the world. But it is obvious that all of these healings are brought about through the subconscious mind, the only healer there is. Notice how it heals a cut on your face caused by shaving. It knows exactly how to do it. The doctor dresses the wound and says nature heals it. Nature refers to the natural law, the law of the subconscious mind or self preservation, which is the function of the subconscious mind. The instinct of self preservation is the first law of nature. Your strongest instinct is the most potent of all autosuggestions. Widely different theories. It would be tedious and unprofitable to discuss to any great extent the numerous theories advanced by different religious sects and prayers therapy groups. There are a great number who claim that because their theory produces results, it is therefore the correct one. This, as explained in this chapter, cannot be true. You are aware that there are all types of healings. Franz Anston Mesmer, an Australian physician, 1734 to 1815, who practiced in Paris, discovered that by applying magnets to the deceased body, he could cure that disease miraculously. He also performed cures with various other pieces of glass and metals. He discontinued this form of healing and claimed that his cures were due to animal magnetism, theorizing that this substance was projected from the healer to the patient. His method of treating disease from then on was by hypnotism, which was called mesmerism in his day. Other physicians said that all his healings were due to suggestion and nothing else. All of these groups, such as psychiatrists, psychologists, osteopaths, chiropractors, physicians, and all the churches, are usually the one universal power resident in the subconscious mind. Each may proclaim the healings are due to their theory. The process of all healing is a definite positive mental attitude, an inner attitude, or a way of thinking called faith. Healing is due to a confident expectancy which acts as a powerful suggestion to the subconscious mind, releasing its healing potency. One man does not heal by a different power than another. It is true he may have his own theory or method. There is only one process of healing and that is faith. There is only one healing power, namely your subconscious mind. Select the theory and method you prefer. You can rest assured if you have faith, you shall get results. Views of Paracelsus. Philippus Paracelsus, a famous Swiss alchemist and physician who lived from 1493 to 1541, was a great healer in his day. He stated what is now an obvious scientific fact when he uttered these words: whether the object of your faith be real or false, you will nevertheless obtain the same effects. Thus, if I believed in Saint Peter's statue as I should have believed in Saint Peter himself, I shall obtain the same effects that I should have obtained from Saint Peter. But that is superstition. Faith, however, produces miracles, and whether it is true or false, faith it always produces the same wonders. The views of Paracelsus were also entertained in the 16th century by Pietro Pomponazzi, an Italian philosopher and contemporary of Paracelsus, who said, "We can easily conceive the marvelous effects which confidence and imagination can produce, particularly when both qualities are reciprocated between the subjects and the person who influences them." The cures attributed to the influence of certain relics are the effect of their imagination and confidence, quacks and philosophers know. that if the bones of any skeleton were put in place of the saint's bones, the sick would nonetheless experience beneficial effects if they believed that they were veritable relics. Then, if you believe in the bones of saints to heal, or if you believe in the healing power of certain waters, you will get results because of the powerful suggestion given to your subconscious mind. It is the latter that does the healing. Bernheit's, Bernheit's experiments. Hippolyte Bernheim, professor of medicine at Nancy, France, 1910 to 1919, was the expounder of the fact that the suggestion of the physician to the patient was exerted through the subconscious mind. Bernheim, in his Suggestive Therapeutics, page 197, tells the story of a man with paralysis of the tongue which had yielded to no form of treatment. His doctor told the patient that he had a new instrument with which he promised to heal him. He introduced a pocket thermometer into the patient's mouth. The patient imagined it to be the instrument which was to save him. In a few moments, he cried out joyfully that he could once more move his tongue freely. Among our cases, continues Bernheim, facts of the same sort will be found. A young girl came into my office having suffered from complete loss of speech for nearly 4 weeks. After making sure of the diagnosis, I told my students that loss of speech sometimes yielded instantly to electricity, which might act simply by its suggestive influence. I sent for the induction apparatus. I applied my hand over the larynx and moved a little and said, "Now you can speak aloud." In an instant, I made her say A, then B, then Maria. She continued to speak distinctly. The loss of voice had disappeared. Here, Bernheim is showing the power of faith and expectancy on the part of a patient, which acts as a powerful suggestion to the subconscious mind. Producing a blister by suggestion. Bernheim states that he produced a blister on the back of a patient's neck by applying a postage stamp and suggesting to the patient that it was a plaster. This has been confirmed by the experiments and experience of many doctors in many parts of the world, which leave no doubt that the structural change are a possible result of oral suggestion to patients. The cause of bloody stigmata. In Hudson's Law of Psychic Phenomena, page 153, he states hemorrhages and bloody stigmata may be induced in certain subjects by means of suggestion. Dr. M. Boruru Dr. M. Boru put a subject into the somnambulistic condition and gave him the following suggestion. At 4 o'clock this afternoon, after the hypnosis, you will come into my office, sit down in the armchair, cross your arms upon your breast, and your nose will begin to bleed. At the hour appointed, the young man did as directed. Several drops of blood came from the left nostril. On another occasion, the same investigator traced the patient's name on both his forearms with the dull point of an instrument. Then, when the patient was in the somnambulistic condition, he said, "At 4 o'clock this afternoon, you will go to sleep and your arms will bleed along the lines which I have traced, and your name will appear written on your arms in the letters of blood." He was watched at 4 o'clock and seen to fall asleep. On the left arm, the letters stood out in the bright relief, and in several places there were drops of blood. The letters were still visible 3 months afterwards, although they had gradually grown faint. These facts demonstrate at once the correctness of the two fundamental propositions previously stated, namely, the constant amenability of the subconscious mind to the power of suggestion and the perfect control which the subconscious mind exercises over the functions, sensations, and conditions of the body. All the foregoing phenomena dramatize vividly abnormal conditions induced by suggestion and are conclusive proof that as a man thinketh in his heart, subconscious mind, so is he. Healing points in review. Remind yourself frequently that the healing power is in your subconscious mind. Know that faith is like a seed planted in the ground, it grows after its kind. Plant the idea, seed in your mind, water and fertilize it with expectancy, and it will manifest. The idea you have for a book, new invention, or a play is real in your mind. This is why you can believe you have it now. Believe in the reality of your idea, plan, or invention, and as you do, it will become manifest. In praying for another, know that a silent inner knowing of wholeness, beauty, and perfection can change the negative patterns of the other subconscious mind and bring about wonderful results. The miraculous healing you hear about at various shrines are due to imagination and blind faith, which act on the subconscious mind, releasing the healing power. All disease originate in the mind. Nothing appears on the body unless there is a mental pattern corresponding to it. The symptoms of almost any disease can be induced in you by hypnotic suggestion. This shows you the power of your thought. There is only one process of healing, and that is faith. There is only one healing power, namely your subconscious mind. Whether the object of your faith is real or false, you will get the results. Your subconscious mind responds to the thought in your mind. Look upon faith as a thought in your mind, and that will suffice. Mental healings in the modern times. Everyone is definitely concerned with the healing of a bodily condition and human affair. What is it that heals? Where is this healing power? These are questions asked by everyone. The answer is that this healing power is the subconscious mind of each person, and a changed mental attitude on the part of the sick person releases this healing power. No mental or religious science practitioner, psychologist, psychiatrist, or medical doctor ever healed a patient. There is an old saying: the doctor dresses the wound, but God heals it. The psychologist or psychiatrist proceeds to remove the mental blocks in the patient so that the healing principle may be released, restoring the patient to health. Likewise, the surgeon removes the physical block, enabling the healing currents to function normally. No physician, surgeon, or mental science practitioner claims he healed the patient. The one healing power is called by many names: nature, life, God, creative intelligence, and subconscious power. As previously outlined, there are many different methods used to remove the mental, emotional, and physical blocks which inhibits the flow of the healing life principle animating all of us. The healing principle resident in your subconscious mind can and will, if properly directed by you or some other person, heal your mind and body of all the diseases. This healing principle is operative in all men, regardless of creed, color, or race. You do not have to belong to some particular church in order to use and participate in this healing process. Your subconscious will heal the burn or cut on your hand even though you profess to be an atheist or agnostic. The modern mental therapeutic procedure is based on the truth that the infinite intelligence and power of a subconscious mind responds according to your faith. The mental science practitioner or minister follows the injunction of the Bible, that is, he goes into his closet and shuts the door, which means he stills his mind, relaxes, lets go, and thinks of the infinite healing presence within him. He closes the door of his mind to all outside distractions as well as appearances, and then he quietly and knowingly turns over his request or desire to his subconscious mind, realizing that the intelligence of his mind will answer him according to his specific needs. The most wonderful thing to know is this: Imagine the end desired and feel its reality. Then the infinite life principle will respond to your conscious choice and your conscious request. This is the meaning of believe you have received and you shall receive. This is what the modern mental scientist does when he practices prayer therapy. One process of healing. There is only one universal healing principle operating through everything: the cat, the dog, the tree, the grass, the wind, the earth, for everything is alive. This life principle operates through the animal, vegetable, and mineral kingdoms as instinct and the law of growth. Man is consciously aware of his life principles and he can consciously direct it to bless himself in the countless ways. There are many different approaches, techniques, and methods in using the universal power, but there is only one process of healing, which is faith. For according to your faith is it done unto you. The law of belief. All religions of the world represent forms of belief, and these beliefs are explained in many ways. The law of life is belief. What do you believe about yourself, life, and universe? It is done unto you as you believe. Belief is thought in your mind, which causes the power of a subconscious to be distributed in all phases of your life according to your thinking habits. You must realize the Bible is not talking about your belief in some ritual, ceremony, form, institution, man, or formula. It is talking about belief itself. The belief of your mind is simply the thought of your mind. If thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believeth. It is foolish to believe in something to hurt or harm you. Remember, it is not the thing believed in that hurts or harms you, but the belief or thought in your mind which creates the result. All your experiences, all your actions, and all the events and circumstances of your life are but the reflections and reactions to your own thoughts.